वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम।
ओ कृष्ण प्रणाम।
नरीबा गौरंगा 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 दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु। ओके। गौरंगा, I am good प्रभु, I am good.
Haribol, it's live stream. So mute it. Haribol, can you mute Zoom?
Yes.
Haribol. Okay.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो
भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं
भागवत
भागवत
सेवया
सेवया
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
श्रीमद् भागवतम Canto 1 Chapter 11 Verse 38. एतत् ईशानम् ईशास्य
एतदीशानमीशास्य
प्रकृतिस्थो अपि तद्गुणैः
प्रकृतिस्थोऽपि तद्गुणैः
न युज्यते सदात्मस्थैर्
न युज्यते सदा आत्मास्थते
यथा बुद्धिस्तदाश्रय
यथा बुद्धिस्तदाश्रय।
एतत् ईशानमीशस्य
एतत् ईशानम् ईशस्य
ईशानम् ईशस्य
प्रकृतिस्थो अपि तद्गुणैः
प्रकृतिस्थोऽपि तद्गुणैः
न युज्यते सदात्मस्थैर्
न
युज्यते सदात्मस्थैर्
यथा बुद्धिस्तदाश्रय
यथा
बुद्धिस्तदाश्रय। एतत् ईशानम् ईशस्य
एतत् ईशानम् ईशस्य
प्रकृतिस्थोऽपि तद्गुणैः
प्रकृतिस्थोऽपि तद्गुणैः
न युज्यते सदात्मस्थैर्
न युज्यते सदात्मस्थैर्
यथा बुद्धिस्तदाश्रय
यथा बुद्धिस्तदाश्रया. Translation and purport is Divine Grace of Charnarinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms. Etat, this.
Etat.
This.
Ishanam, divinity.
Ishanam,
divinity.
Ishasya, of the personality of Godhead.
Ishasya,
of the personality of Godhead.
Prakritistha, being in contact with material nature.
Prakristha,
being in contact with material nature.
Material nature.
Api, in spite of.
Api, in spite of.
Tadgunai, by the qualities.
That gunai, by the qualities.
No, never.
No, never.
Yujyate, is affected.
Yujyate is affected.
Sada Atmasthai, by those who are situated in eternity.
Sada Atmasthai,
by
by
those
who are situated in eternity.
Yatha, as is.
Yatha,
as is.
Buddhi, intelligence.
Buddhi,
intelligence.
Tat, the Lord.
Tat, the Lord.
Ashraya, those who are under the shelter of.
Ashraya, who are under the
shelter of.
Translation, please repeat after me. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead.
This is the divinity
of the personality of Godhead.
He is not affected by the qualities of material nature.
He is not affected
by the qualities of
material nature.
Even though he is in contact with them.
Even though he is in
contact
with them.
Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord.
The devotees who have taken shelter of the
Lord
do not become influenced by the material qualities.
Do not become influenced by the material qualities.
Purport.
In the Vedas and Vedic literatures, Shruti and Smriti, it is affirmed that in the divinity there is nothing material. He is transcendental, Nirguna, the supreme cognizant. Hari, or the personality of Godhead, is the supreme transcendental person situated beyond the range of material affection. These statements are also confirmed even by Acharya Shankara. One may argue that his relation with the goddess of fortune may be transcendental, but what about his relation with the Yadu dynasty? Being born in that family, or his killing the non-believers like Jarasandha and other Asuras directly in contact with the modes of material nature? The answer is that the divinity of the personality of Godhead is never in contact with the qualities of material nature in any circumstances. Actually, he is in contact with such qualities because he is the ultimate source of everything. Yet he is above the actions of such qualities. He is known, therefore, as Yogeshwara, or the master of mystic power, or in other words, the all-powerful. Even his learned devotees are not affected by the influence of the material modes. The great six Goswamis of Vrindavan all came from greatly rich and aristocratic families. But when they adopted the life of mendicants at Vrindavan, superficially they appear to be in wretched conditions of life. But factually, they were of all in spiritual values. Such Mahabhagavatas, or first-grade devotees, although moving again amongst men, are not contaminated by honor or insult, hunger or satisfaction, sleep or wakefulness, which are all resultant actions of the three modes of material nature. Similarly, Some of them are engaged in worldly dealings, yet are unaffected. Unless these neutralities of life are there, one cannot be considered situated in transcendence. The divinity and his associates are on the same transcendental plane, and their glories are always sanctified by the action of Yogamaya, or the internal potency of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are always transcendental, even if they are sometimes found to have fallen in their behavior. The Lord emphatically declares in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 that even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to a previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being sent person in the devotional service of the Lord. The Lord protects him always because of his rendering service unto him, and the fallen conditions are to be considered accidental and temporary. They will vanish in no time.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jaya Pathaka Swamin Iti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Kripa Pradhaine Gaurakatha Dhamadhaya Nagara Grama Tharine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunabhate Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hariharaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudanam Mugam Garodi Vachalam Bangalangai Tigiri Matrupatama Munde Sri Gurum Tinatarinam Paramananda Madam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram. So in this beautiful verse, the Lord is expressed for this divinity, that this mode of goodness and passion and ignorance does not affect him, even though he comes in contact with them. The spirit soul, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when it comes in contact with material nature, it becomes contaminated to that extent that it completely forgets himself and the Supreme Lord and the relationship, and taken himself to be what he is not. To that extent, it is influenced that it loses its original identity. Something like a spark from the whole fire is extinguished totally. It will never have symptom of fire also. Like that, the fallen conditioned souls, we, when come in contact with the material nature, we taken material nature all in all. And then we totally given up our spiritual quality, spiritual nature, the Supreme Lord, the relationship, the devotional service, the love and the affection and the bliss and the knowledge, everything we give up. What kind of bargain is this? Everything we give up. Is it good? In any way, if it is good, even 1% if it is good, at least, is it worth losing the original identity after all? It is worth losing all the intelligence that one possesses. Is it worth losing our blissfulness? At the cost of all these things, we accepted this material body as all in all. What kind of foolishness is that? This is really, really very precarious situations we have been put in. And now we started thinking that when the Lord comes here, he is also one amongst us, because that's our experience. Huh? But our experience is not applicable to the Lord. The Lord, even though he will contact with the matter, he will not be affected or influenced by material nature, because he is the source of the material nature. And we are part and parcel of that source. So we are affected. He is not. However, if a devotee who has taken complete shelter of the Lord, he also will not become or do not become influenced by the material qualities, like Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Any pure devotee who has taken full shelter of the Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, they will not be also influenced by the modes of material nature. Put in other words, devotional service, the sooner one engages, the sooner he is relieved from the influence of the modes of material nature. So as soon as one is engaged in the devotional service under the bona fide spiritual master, who in turn is engaged 24 hours both day and night in the devotional service, this person who took shelter of such a bona fide spiritual master, he does not come under the influence or affected by the three modes of material nature. Everyone who is chanting Hare Krishna under this ISKCON banner would have experienced that after they started the regular chanting of the holy name of the Lord, they have never been influenced by the 9 planet, the Navagraha, which was the most important cause of influence in life at every moment. And these devotees have totally forgotten that there exists the Navagraha. They don't even feel their existence. What to speak of the influence of that? This is a proof of what the statement is given here. In the very practical life, we are able to, experience these things. So how do we experience these things? Because of connected through devotional service, this influence. It does not mean that 9 planetary system or this 9 Navagrahas stopped working or stopped touching devotees. No, it does its duty, devotee or not devotee. But a devotee is protected by the Lord. It is only the Supreme Lord Krishna who is protecting you from the influence of this particular, 3 modes of material nature in the form of Navagraha, or in the form of miseries or sufferings or whatever it may be. Krishna is protecting. Gauranga is protecting, because Krishna is transcendental Nirguna. And when you engage in the devotional service, which is Nirguna, Krishna will protect you from all the gunas of this material world. He also declares in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all these kind of religious principles or religious activities, so-called meant for sense gratification, influenced by the mode of goodness and passion. Just surrender unto me. So that is Krishna. So as soon as one takes shelter of Krishna, Ashraya, he is also not affected by the modes of material nature, and it is a fact. Every ISKCON devotee have undergone this experience and undergoing this experience and will undergo the experience. These are all the verdict of the Vedic injunctions by the Supreme Personality of God or his followers or his descendant acharyas. So Prabhupada is very elaborately given in this particular purport that how this particular Supreme Personality of Godhead is beyond the range of material affection. So he is beyond the range. It is an out of reach. So the devotees are also out of reach to be affected by the material modes of nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance is all pervading, but the devotees who lives here itself, they are out of range for that. The modes cannot reach them. So even Shankaracharya have accepted this. Take example, Prabhupada is giving here, Yadu dynasty. So when all the demigods headed by Brahmaji, on hearing the complaint from Bhumi Devi, went to the Shiroga Sai ocean shore and prayed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead to remove the burden on the earth. So he said, this time original Krishna is coming. So all of you demigods go and take birth in the Yadu dynasty on the earthen planet to assist him and to be associate of him. So in this way, the demigods have come into the Yadu dynasty. Now Krishna has come and he is in touch with the matter. He is in touch with all the Yadu dynasty. He is one of the Yadu dynasty offspring. So he has born in that family. He has killed the non-believers like Jarasandha and so many other asuras, directly contact with the modes of material nature. So the answer Srila Prabhupada gives here is that the divinity of the personality of God is never in contact with the qualities of material nature in any circumstances. That's a beautiful statement, you see. In any circumstances whatsoever, whether Krishna is coming in contact with matter or does not contact matter, but the material nature or the qualities cannot affect him. So, how you can say then he is in contact with, I am putting my finger in the water, but my finger is not wet. Yeah, how can I believe that? Yes, it is possible. If swan can take out milk mixed with water without touching the water, taking away only the milk, why this is not possible? It is possible, but how? By only taking the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. One who has taken the ashraya, taken the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna by accepting a bona fide spiritual man. How do you take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna? Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. So who is the lotus feet of Krishna? So Guru, when you accept a bona fide spiritual master, that means when you are initiated, that means you have taken the shelter of Krishna. This is very much science and practical and very simple. What is the difficulty in understanding how to take shelter of Krishna? Mamekam Sharanam Raja, how to surrender to Krishna. So simply, once you get initiated, you have taken shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. And as soon as you get shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, you are not affected by the modes of material nature. Unless otherwise you like to do that. Your free will is there to misuse. But as soon as we take shelter of spiritual master, shelter of Krishna, then why should we desire to be influenced by mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance? Is above the actions of any kind of qualities. So Krishna is the source of all these qualities. His ultimate source, Sarva Karana Karanam. His ultimate cause of all causes, his ultimate source of all sources. So he is called Yoga Ishvara, master of mystic power, or he is all powerful. So what to speak of, okay, he is the origin, even his devotees, his learned devotees, they are also not affected by the influence of material modes. There are so many examples. Prabhupada quotes here the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They all came from very greatly rich and aristocratic family. But they have accepted the life of mendicants at Vrindavan. Externally, they would have been appeared to be wretched conditions of life, but actually, factually, they were the richest of all in spiritual values. They are called Mahabhagavatas. Mahabhagavatas means first great devotees. They might be wandering amongst the human beings, not for want of money and sense gratification, but to save these wandering living entities who have forgotten Krishna, to remind them of their eternal position and the relationship with Krishna, to engage them in the pure, unalloyed, loving, devotional service, to awaken the love for Krishna in their heart, which is already dormant. So in such activities, they are engaged. So they are not contaminated by any kind of honor or insult or hunger or satisfaction or sleep or wakefulness, nothing. We have heard that Sri Rupa Sanatana Goswamis were wandering and sleeping 1.5 hours under each tree every day, different trees, and sometime they forget to sleep. Forget to sleep because they are not contaminated by sleep or wakefulness. They're chanting the holy name of the Lord. So our Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, he drank only just a glass of buttermilk in 24 hours. Only one glass of buttermilk. Not that lot of buttermilk whenever he feels hungry and thirsty, he drinks. No. He doesn't feel hunger or thirst because of the pure, unalloyed, loving devotion service. This hunger and thirst are the, influenced by the modes of material nature, and they don't even feel contaminated yet by these things. Then what to speak of honor or insult, which is another expression of the mode of material nature. So with one glass of buttermilk, he survived for a number of days with healthy. Every day, 3 hours, he gives lecture about Chaitanya Katha, and he was offering 100 devotees his obeisances to 1,000 devotees every day. He is offering obeisances 100 times. He is offering obeisances to Radha Kund daily. These things are not ordinary. And these things, he gets time to do that. He gets the energy. He was very healthy when he was not eating. This is the power of devotional service. Material modes will not influence, means how can you think health or ill health? So these particular hunger, satisfaction, sleep, wakefulness, honor, insult, all these things are just resultant actions of 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we have also heard that our what is his name? Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Pundarik Premanidhi, who was opulently situated with a lot of servants and very wonderfully dressed. But he was totally unaffected by any kind of worldly dealings. Because of pure, unalloyed, loving devotional service, Sada Kirtaniya Sada Hari, always engaged. Only a person with such attitude of feeling oneself to be lower than the straw in the street, giving all respect to others, do not expect any kind of self-prestige. With such mentality only, one can chant the holy name of the Lord always. And that is very practical. Srila Haridas Thakura, Srila Rupa Goswami, all of them are excellent examples, those who lived on the same place where we are living. And they showed this is how we should exercise our human form of life. They have also seen very big post, minister level, very opulent, living in palace, everything they had, lot of servants. They shown, yes, we will get everything here. But what is our real life? They have shown. They have shown what is our real life. To be taken shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet and serving eternally. That is the beauty. They have lived by examples, and still our Guru Maharaj is living by examples. What is not available for Guru Maharaj? Who will not give anything to Guru Maharaj? We laid our life for him. Everybody, every disciple. But he is never affected by any kind of material modes of nature. Because Krishna or the divinity, Krishna is called a divinity, and also his associates. Guru Maharaj is the associates of Lord Chaitanya, who is not different from Krishna. So they are on the same transcendental plane. And their glories are always sanctified by the action of Yogamaya. That is the internal potency of the Lord and not external potency of the Lord. And that is the reason why they are not influenced by modes of material nature. This is the action of Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. That is why Prabhupada boldly declares in his purport that the devotees of the Lord are always transcendental. Sometimes you may see, okay, somebody has fallen in their behavior and materially falling. You know, that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna already told, yes, my unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen sometime. That may be due to the previous material contamination, vasana, but he should be accepted as fully transcendental because he has engaged himself 100% in the devotional service of the Lord. He has got Guru. Thus, he can engage. Not without Guru, you can engage 10% in the devotional service of the Lord. That is not possible. And if you make an attempt, you will fall. We have examples of that also in Bhagavatam pages. So, the Lord will protect all the devotees. We saw in this week, till yesterday, we have been seeing the Gopinatha Pattanayaka, who is the incarnation of Bhima, one of the 5 Pandavas. So, how he has undergone, all his possessions are lost, his life was about to be, given up. He was to be killed. He was put on the changa, and from there he will be thrown onto the sharp edges of the swords, which stands perpendicular on the earth, to kill him. And this punishment was announced from the royal prince. In such a situation, just because he could not repay, he could not pay the tax, he squandered it. For some reason or the other, he may have used it for distributing prasadam for Lord Chaitanya's associates or whatever reason that he only knows. But he has squandered. He has not paid the tax to the government fully, what is due. And selling all his possessions, it won't be possible for him to pay that particular due. And he has also insulted the prince. So he was on the death edge. What happened there was, because he is a pure devotee, that is the first thing. So his wandering is doing this little nitty-gritty thing is not taken as a very serious consideration, though the prince has taken a so serious offense and he was put him on the changa to be killed. But the information went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to help because he said that if you are, squandering the money of the government, it is an offense. And what is wrong if the king is punishing? He is doing the rightful thing. I cannot support such thing. But simply by hearing the complaint, hearing the request from the devotees, this Gopinatha Pattanayaka not only was released from the death toll, not only was he excused from the taxes that he has to be paid, and not only that he has been given again the collector position in the same area, his salary also was doubled. And he was also, decorated with the silken robe around his body by the king directly, Prataparudra. So much so that this person has lost all kind of affection to the material things. Simply by informing the Lord, from the death point, this person has got all the things. And he is a pure devotee because he has taken shelter of Krishna from the beginning. Any such mishaps happens in between because of the previous karma or anything, the Lord protects him always, always. Why? Because of his rendering service unto him. So the fallen conditions were considered very temporary, even in the very same life, and he was not killed. Rather, he was, honored by the king. This is the beauty. Practical examples are there in our Chaitanya Leela. Practical examples that you also experience in your life. These practicals, when we undergo the experience, we may not take it very seriously. When someone else undergo the experience, we say, wow, yes. So that is our nature. But that's all right. We have to accept this fact. As long as a devotee is serving the lotus feet of the Lord, taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord by taking initiation, he is always protected, not sometime. Always, even though he seemed to be fallen. Nevertheless, he should not make an attempt to satisfy his senses because, okay, Lord will protect me. That is offense. Offenses cannot be forgiven. But accidental, no problem. Krishna will excuse. Krishna will forgive. Krishna will protect. What to speak of forgiving and excusing? He will also protect from the reaction of such bad karma or bad thing. Accidentally, the devotee performs. No any kind of anxiety. Simply engage in pure, unalloyed, loving devotion service to Krishna under the bona fide spiritual master. Your life is marked successful, 100% guaranteed. Simply by hearing the Lord Chaitanya Leela from the lotus mouth of Guru Maharaj every day, just for 20 minutes or half an hour, maximum 40 minutes he speaks, that's all. And very few words he speaks during that. But simply being present in the class, one gets love for Gauranga, love for Krishna, which is never ever to be achieved by any other means. Only pure, unalloyed, loving devotion service. It is possible and it's very rare to be achieved. And this opportunity is abundantly available in this material world because of the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So we should take advantage of that very seriously and not waste our time in the mundane affairs in the material world. Everything will fall into place automatically. Give more seriousness to the spiritual activity, spiritual progress, and see how things manifest. What is the time now? Thank you very much. So if there are any questions or comments or realization, please do share with us.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
यह तो भगवान की अलौकिकता है। सुन लिया जाए कि भौतिक प्रकृति के गुणों के संसर्ग में रहते हुए भी उनसे प्रभावित नहीं होते। इसी प्रकार जिन भक्तों ने भगवान की शरण ग्रहण कर ली है, वे भी भौतिक गुणों से प्रभावित नहीं होते। लेकिन नीचे इसमें दिया है, भगवान भगवत गीता में 9.30 में बलपूर्वक घोषित करते हैं कि यदि पूर्व कल्मश के कारण कोई भक्त पतित हो भी जाए तो भी उस भक्त को भगवत भक्ति में पूर्ण रूप से प्रवृत्त रहने के कारण पूर्णतया दिव्य मानना चाहिए। भगवान उसके द्वारा सेवा करते रहने के कारण उसकी सदैव रक्षा करते हैं और उसकी पतित अवस्थाओं को आकस्मिक तथा क्षणिक मानना चाहिए। तो मेरा प्रश्न यह है कि यदि पूर्व कल्मश के कारण कोई भक्त पतित हो भी जाए तो भी उस भक्त को भगवत भक्ति में पूर्ण रूप से प्रवृत्त रहने के कारण पूर्णतया दिव्य मानना चाहिए। तो हम भगवत भक्ति भी करें और गलत काम भी करते रहें तो भी उसको दिव्य माना जा सकता है?
नहीं माना जा सकता है, नहीं माना जा सकता है।
हाँ, जैसे
इसलिए नहीं माना जा सकता है, वो नहीं लिखा इधर। इधर लिखा है कि एक्सीडेंटली उसकी पूर्व कर्म के वजह से कभी एक बार कहीं जरा से वो गलती कर बैठा है, उसको माफ किया जाता है। ना कि ये लिखा इसलिए मैं भक्ति भी करूंगा और मैं पूरा क्या बोलते हैं गलत काम भी करूंगा, वो नहीं। वो ना तो लिखा है यहाँ पर, ना ही वो स्वीकार है शास्त्रों में। वो गलत है। इसलिए हमको शास्त्र को पढ़ना चाहिए अपना बोनाफाइड आचार्यों के जरिए, नहीं तो हम गलत समझ बैठेंगे। इसमें इसका तात्पर्य यह है कि गलती से कुछ मिस्टेक हो जाता है,
Yes.
उसकी वासना की वजह से क्या है, कभी कभी वो गलती कर बैठता है, उसके
Yes,
बाद तो
प्रभु।
पछताता है, ना कि वो और गलती करेगा।
यस प्रभु।
वो पछताता, क्या कर दिया मैंने, मैं तो भगवान का नाम लेता हूँ और मैं ऐसा कार्य करता हूँ, ओ माय गॉड, बाकी लोग क्या मेरे को देखे वो क्या सीखेंगे, वो लोग
हाँ।
भी गलती करना शुरू करेंगे, वो बहुत पछताएगा, रोएगा, यू नो।
हाँ।
वो है, एक बार कभी हो जाता है मिस्टेक, उसको भगवान क्षमा कर देता है, तो उस मिस्टेक को हम बड़ा करके उस वैष्णव को अपमान नहीं करना चाहिए। वो हम उसको वैष्णव ही स्वीकार करेंगे, क्योंकि भगवान उसका रक्षा करेगा। कैसे रक्षा करेगा? उसका हृदय के अंदर से वो मैल को निकाल देगा। हृदयंतस्थो ही अभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत सताम। सो भगवान जो है वो, क्योंकि वो भक्ति कर रहा है, इसलिए भगवान उसको हृदय से वो मैल को मिटा देता है, निकाल देता है, ना कि वो कंटिन्यूस गलती करता है। गलती वो कंटिन्यूस नहीं करेगा, एक बार मिस्टेक कर देगा फिर पछताएगा, भगवान उसकी हृदय से उस गलती को मिटा देगा पूरा। आइंदा उसकी जिंदगी में वो गलती करने का वो आएगा नहीं, वो वासना नहीं रहेगा, उस वासना को निकाल देता है भगवान।
यस प्रभु।
Thank
वैसे
you.
भी होता है, हम जब अच्छे कर्म की ओर अपनी मन को प्रवृत्त करते हैं तो धीरे धीरे बुरे कर्म धीरे 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 छूटते जाते हैं। ये होता है, ये प्रैक्टिकली व्यक्तिगत अनुभव है। लेकिन इसमें जो दिया है उसके चलते कि बलपूर्वक घोषित करते हैं कि यदि पूर्व कलमश के कारण कोई भक्त पतित हो भी जाए तो भी उस भक्त को भगवत भक्ति में पूर्ण रूप से प्रवृत्त रहने के कारण पूर्णतया दिव्य मानना चाहिए। तो यहाँ पर
बिल्कुल, इसका देखो, इसका मतलब यह है, मान लो आप बहुत पूजा पाठ करते हैं, देवी माँ का करते हो, भगवान गणेश का करते हो, ये सब पूर्व कर्म की वजह से करते हो। अभी आप भक्ति करना शुरू किया है, भक्ति करने के बाद आप कभी कभार एकदम आप उनकी जो वासना की वजह से आप फिर से जो है अपनी विश्वास को देवी माँ के ऊपर रख के फिर से एक देवी पूजा करते हो, जो कि वो कर्म है, वो कर्म है। हाँ, वो बुरा नहीं है, वो अच्छा है, किंतु वो बुरा है। क्यों बुरा है? भक्ति के सामने कोई चीज अच्छा नहीं होता, अच्छा कर्म भी नहीं होता, बुरा कर्म भी नहीं, तो कोई भी कर्म बुरा होता है।
यस,
कर्म को ना करना ही अच्छा होता है, तो अच्छा कर्म भी बुरा ही माना जाता है भक्ति के सामने।
यस,
तो भक्ति से हट करके कोई भी चीज अच्छा नहीं है। अच्छा, वो अच्छा कर्म की तल पे बहुत अच्छा माना जाता है, किंतु वो भी बुरा है भक्ति का सामने, क्योंकि भक्ति से बढ़कर कुछ नहीं है। एक बार भक्ति को हमने ठान लिया, उसके उपरांत उससे कभी जो है भिन्न होकर के किसी और चीज के ऊपर हमारा ध्यान को हम बढ़ाएंगे नहीं, और वासना की वजह से कभी कभी हो जाता है।
यस प्रभु।
तो वो मिस्टेक को भगवान जो है माफ करता है।
यस प्रभु।
थैंक यू,
धन्यवाद प्रभु।
हरे कृष्णा। एनीबॉडी एल्स? 5 4 3 2 1 0. Thank you very much. So for your association, till tomorrow morning 7 o'clock we start our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam की जय। पतित पावन श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। पतित पावन श्रील गुरु महाराज की जय। भागवत सत्संग की जय। वैष्णव प्रणाम। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Thank you very much.